Hey guys, it's Nate. Starting something new with the newsletter. I hope it's well received, and I hope that it gives you guys some more enlightenment onto my thoughts and opinions on each setup as we go forward, rather than just reading a few short sentences or paragraph. You guys can actually hear my thought process and everything on what I'm looking at and everything. So I hope this goes well. I would imagine this first video will be a little lengthy as I get used to it and everything. So just bear with me. So starting out, here's the cover for the February 14th newsletter. Short week. As you can see, it's only going to be 4 trading days this week. We have a holiday on Monday for President's Day. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and dive into the week in review as far as last week's setups. So last week we had Apple. We were looking for it to break out over 137.40. It wicked here on Tuesday. Couldn't really get anything going, but it's held this upward trend line. So as long as this continues to hold, we'll kind of keep it on our radar and look for it to clear 137.40. Then we had AbbVie. It went double inside week. Never actually got nothing on it really triggered. So we'll be looking for that again this week. Airbnb, a really nice setup here. In the Discord, we actually swung it the weekly 205 calls from Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday morning it's opened up really well and gave us a great swing trade overnight there on the weekly 205s. Pulled back on Tuesday, ultimately made new highs on Thursday and went inside day on Friday. So continue to watch that one. It's in an obvious uptrend. I would wait for to short it once it got under this upward trend line here. AMD came out of the gate roaring on Monday. Triggered for us big time. This was a big candle, 4% candle here. Went straight to that gap here, and then wicked it on Tuesday, and then closed it the rest of the week. The semis had a real nice week all around. NVIDIA, Western Digital, Micron, they all had a really good week. I'd still like this one. If you wanted to catch it, I would look for that move, obviously to 100. So keep that one on watch. Blink, this was a real nice one. It actually triggered here on Monday, pulled back, we reset the alert, and then it took off again. So overall, a great move. Gonna have some trouble here around 60, so just keep an eye on that moving forward. Chewy, real nice one. Monday, it gapped up, so falsified that alert that my original line was over here. So since it gapped up, it negated everything, went inside day to outside day, held the old breakout area of 107.50, and then inside day, or outside to inside day, up to all-time highs on Friday. Tons of volume here, so real nice move. We caught that one too. Facebook went on Monday right to my 270 area, and then it triggered on Tuesday. It just couldn't hold it, and kind of stalled out along that 270 area all week. So it was a good day trade on Tuesday for us. It just couldn't hold, pulled back. So overall, I was pretty happy with that. I set the alert at 270 for a reason. As you can see, all these wicks kind of went right up to that area. So I was like, I think that's the best spot. Monday, like I said, it went right to it, and then it triggered for us on Tuesday. Fuel cell, this was a real nice move out of the gate on Monday. Once it cleared 25, and then we're doing $1 increments from there. Then it cleared 26 in the same day, gapped up a little bit, and then we got a clearance of 27 and 28. Couldn't quite clear 29, and then it gapped up, but then came back through the old range. So overall, great move. So from our breakout area of 25, I mean, even a 2-day move there, you're looking at a 15% move. So solid move there. Gap GPS. It was a good into the re-entry of the gap there, no pun intended, but just couldn't confirm it. So now we'll move this old line here, and we'll make it either here for a re-trigger, or we'll put it on the top of this wick to get us back into that gap. We'll see what happens. Maybe it might go inside day and up there, but I would like for it to close. I mean, it's in a double gap. I mean, there's a gap here, so ultimately the first target would be 24.90 or 25, and then you close the gap up here around 26. So let's keep that one on watch. IBM, it started off, it gapped up a little bit, came here. It really is going to have trouble now with this 124 area, so just continue to watch it. Jetblue, it started out good, inside day up through that breakout area. So if you can see here, it started to break out, looked good. I still think it's an okay play. It's one of those plays you might want to keep on watch for, or even in your portfolio, just kind of in the back of your portfolio there. Maybe a stop down here around 14. Looks like we found some support here, and here around 14. So that could be a good long-term swing play there for you. JD didn't get back in this gap here, broke out on Tuesday. It's kind of a green, red, green, red, green, or red, green, and then Tuesday it triggered, just barely whipped it over, but then ultimately, if you swung it from that trigger over 97.46, you would have gotten a decent move there. Oops. I mean, it's not a huge move. You're looking at a 3% move, but even if you got the 100 calls, you would have been good there. So overall, a nice move. It's going to have trouble. Really needs to confirm 100. So I like how it held up these couple days here, Thursday and Friday. Went compound inside candle here inside this Wednesday bar. So just keep an eye on this one to get it confirmed over 100 moving forward, especially with earnings soon. Might get that nice pre-earnings ramp. Laser, this was a nice move. It was kind of wishy-washy all week. Coming out of the gate, it triggered here on Monday with an outside day, triggered again on Wednesday, Thursday, and Thursday and Friday it had some midday bullish sweeping activity and really shot it up midday both days. Came straight to this upward or this downward trend line here on this peak line. So I'm going to actually, I'm not adding it to the newsletter this week, but look for a move to at least 40 this week. It's 5.5% move there. I would like to see what happens with that one. McDonald's, perfect breakout of this trend line. Solid move there. I know once it triggered, you guys in the Discord said, man, once it triggered, it just never looked back. It just kept going. And then, you got the gap up on Wednesday there. So definitely a great play there. I know it was a good move for everybody who played that one. Net triggered on Monday, had earnings this week, but real nice, hitting those new highs. Kind of sucks that it had earnings, but overall I think it was a good move this week, and you could have gotten in and out before earnings. So PLTR, this one kind of annoyed me because it gapped up so much on Monday, then it went inside day on Tuesday, and then it faded that gap, and then actually took our upward trend line here down. Here's the old breakout area. It keeps coming back to this 33.50 area. So just keep an eye on this. If it goes down any further, I'd look for it to retest 28. Qualcomm, nothing special there. Still holding this gap here. This wick on Friday, I'm not sure if that was a bad wick or not. If I remember looking at my other charts, it looked like it was going to be a bad wick. But just keep that one on your radar. And then Tesla, couldn't quite take the inside week up. Almost went double inside week, but took it down. So technically it's still going to be inside all of this. So just continue to watch that one. And then Western Digital, just an absolute monster. Took it up Monday, paused here these couple days, retested the old breakout, and then ultimately closed that gap on Friday. Solid play there. So moving to this week's newsletter, we have, here's our week in review. Here's some of our, alerts from the Discord and private Twitter. So we had Chewy, McDonald's, Airbnb, Dollar General, PayPal. I know all the guys and everybody in the Discord was tired of me talking about PayPal, but that was a terrific move that we were able to grab. So I was very pleased with that as it made new highs. This week, you had the GameStop drama continues. Everybody's still talking about that. And then how they moved over to the cannabis sector, and then it faded. Got some big name earnings this week with Walmart and Roku, and then you've got some CEOs of Robinhood, Citadel, Melvin Capital, and Reddit, going and wasting their time in front of government officials. And then Ford is expected to make an announcement this week. Here's this week's calendar. Like I said, Monday's President's Day. Wednesday, you've got the FOMC minutes. Kind of a non-event these days. But here's one that I'm looking at is building permits, and then home sales. So you want to get your home builders and everything on your radar. Like I said, Walmart and Roku this week. Particular other ones I'm looking at, PLTR, CVS, Shopify, FSLY, Baidu. There's SunPower. There's a bunch of big names this week. So know what you're in and know how, if you're in something that might be a sympathy play to another name. A lot of hotel and travel sector names this week. You got Marriott and a few other hotels. So just know what you're in. So going right into it, we got AbbVie again. I'm looking at it to get long over 105 here. Looking at the 105 monthly calls. I like how it's holding down here. And, I'll just go here for now. So I like how it's holding this. I'm basically calling it 100. This 101, 102 area. I'd like to see it really clear 105. I've got this alert on this pink line here, but I would like to actually get it in around this 105 area. So if we can get over 105.14 or so, that's kind of what I'm looking at, and I'd like to see it go up from there. I really like this space that's put in along 102, so that's what I'm liking. ATVI, I put this percent on here real quick. It's more or less to show you, hey, just because I have something, we have a setup 1 week, that doesn't mean just like forget it. I mean, a lot of these setups can be played for multiple weeks. So here's our old breakout from back in the first part of December, and if you took common stock in that, you're up almost 30%. So in 2 months. So just something I wanted to throw out there. But what I liked about ATVI this week is it held this earnings gap all week. Inside day up, and then it's holding this upward trend line. By them holding it up and actually closing higher than their earnings close, shows me that they're wanting to take this thing higher. So I'm really looking for a solid move here this week over 104.23. Give me a 105, 107.50, 110. That's what I'm looking at. So going to the newsletter, I'm looking at the March monthly 105 calls, and I'd like to see a breakout here over 120 or 104. Here are my targets: 105, 107.50, 110. If we do take a short, I'm looking at it. You can short under this trend line here. Ultimate target would be 100. They'd find some support there. So if we dip into the gap, I would look for support here around 96, and then down here around 94 at the gap closure. So moving on, we got Ball Corporation. Like when we had on the newsletter a few weeks ago, it's not going to be super sexy, but it's going to work. Close this gap here, and it's finding a nice base here along around 88. So ultimately what I'm looking for is a breakout here over 90, and I'd just like to see it kind of slowly take all of these out. I'd like to see it come here around 94, get this cluster here around 96, 97, 98, and obviously get us back to 100. So I'm looking, if you take this on some common stock, get us back to around 100, you're looking around the 11% move there. So ultimately that's a nice little swing. You take that for 1 to 3 months, and that's what I'm looking for with the stop down here around 88. That seems like a good base, even if you really want to play it loose. 85 here, I think that's what I actually put. Long over 90, stop at 85. Here's all the targets. There wasn't a ton of open interest on the options. So, but since there wasn't a ton of open interest, you would expect the spreads to be a little bit wider, and I didn't mind those spreads. You got a 30-cent and 20-cent spreads on both sides. So, you might be the only ones playing it, but there'll be buyers if you end up getting in. So if you need to sell, someone will be able to buy it. So I like it for a longer swing. I'd probably take the common stock more than I would the options, but we'll see. I'm kind of liking this setup here. So Dfs Discover Financial. Financials right now look pretty tight, and they look like they're wanting to make a move. So here we go. This was these candles right here, from this candle here over, was this all last week. So it just went sideways all week. So I'm really looking for a breakout here over 94. It's not that far to 196, which is the high of this candle, even to 100. You're looking at a 6% move on the week if we can get there. So I think it's very doable. It held this gap down here, even when on this small pullback here, didn't even get close to it. So they held it sideways all week for a reason. Very, very tight channel all week. You could have almost fit it, basically, really between this candle and this one, that's how it fit inside all week. So I like this tight range. Volume kind of picked up on Friday, and didn't do much. So I know JPM looks good, and Goldman Sachs looks good. So we'll see if we can get a push here. So looking for a move over 94.55. Here's my targets. Again, the open interest wasn't good on this one. I think if you actually went out a little bit further, it got better. But I was looking at the March monthly ones. Spreads are still decent, so I didn't mind it. This one's relatively close to the being in the money, so if you even wanted to go with the hundreds, they might be a little bit cheaper. So moving on, we've got EA, Electronic Arts, and inside day as well as an inside week here. So it closed this gap here on the daily. This was your earnings gap down here. They bought it back in a hurry. EA has some news this week. I forget who they were buying, but didn't do much for them as far as selling off or anything. So I'm really looking for a move ultimately over here to over 150, and I would like to see it really kind of push over that 150 area. Struggled here and here with it. If we hold this trend line here, then I think it can work. I'd really like to see an inside day up with a push towards 150 to start the week. So long over the downward trend line or over 148. Here are the targets: 150.30, 151.26. The 151.26 is the what I gathered to be the current all-time high, or the most recent all-time high on it. So those are my two targets on it. I'm not too big on a short with this one. I just added that upward trend line on it. I guess if it broke that, I would look to short it. But my ultimate play on this one this week would be the long side. So moving on, we got FireEye. Getting a tight range here. It's got a couple ways to look at it. You can really get things tight. And wait for it to clear here, or we can try to get in a little early and get in over this downward trend line, this top pink line here. And that's what I'm looking at. We were able to catch this move here back in December. We not only had the gap play, but we had the options flow that we were able to catch live on it, and then it ultimately took off. So ever since then, you've kind of been stuck inside all of these candles here. So things are getting tight, and I'm really looking for it to break out here over 22, get us up towards 23, 24, and then back over 25. So that's what I'm looking at this week on it. So yeah, long over the downward trend line or 22, targets 23, 24, 25, and your stop at 20. I think that's a good move. The 23 March monthly calls, nice spread there. I like those. I didn't want to go out to 25. I thought that might be too risky. So going with the 23s, and I like that play there. Home Depot, they report earnings on the 23rd. So I went with the March monthly calls rather than this week's expiration, because I felt like these were still a good spread good open interest, and even if you hold through earnings next week, you should still be okay and avoid some of the volatility that might come with an earnings move. Home Depot here, got an outside to inside day to finish off the week. I'd like to see it get over this downward trend line here. You can even play the inside day up move over 278.71. It held pretty well here at 276. I feel like that's a good solid move. If you zoom out here, it's actually right in the middle of this broadening formation here. So I'd like to see it really start climbing up over this area here. It's kind of bunched up. If we can get a nice pre-earnings run, that would be ideal. But I like the March 300 calls. If on a break of 276, I'd be looking at the March 250 puts. Good spread here. Little looser spread on the puts, and the more open interest here on the calls. I think this is still a good move that's setting up. Lilly, it had some news this week with the CEO stepping down or something. It was kind of news here since the headquarters are located not too far from here. So it was all over the local news, but I went with the weekly. So technically they're weekly, they're monthly, February monthly, but they're for this week. I went with those just simply because if you look at the other, the March expiration, you might have volume and open interest here, but you have a wide spread. I didn't really care for that, so I chose the ones expiring this week. I went with the 215 calls, and I think the 200s maybe on the puts. I think I might have messed that up actually. So yeah, I messed up the price. I got the open interest right. The price of the February monthly 200 puts on Lilly is actually 60 cents by $1.03. So I apologize for that. So that's why I went with this week's expiration. So looking at it here, even the 215s, they're not bad. That's within reason here. We've got some nice moves on it. A lot of gaps though. A lot of gaps keep getting made and filled. So just something to keep an eye on, keep in the back of your mind and be aware of. Holding this upward trend line. Outside day last week, and another nice big outside day to close out the week this week. I'd really like to see it over 208, get us up to 210 here, and then test 213, and then if we could test 218, which is the high of this candle on this outside day, that would be nice. But we'll see if we can get some moves this week with it. I don't know. They're not really in the COVID race. Not a name that's been up there, but you never know with these drug companies when they're going to release some data or anything. So, but I like how it closed Friday and gave this nice outside day. So I'm looking for an outside day continuation play here as well. Even though it went inside week, that's a nice way to close the week. And really, if you had earnings here, that's what this drop was here for. So obviously, if a lot of things go inside week following an earnings week, is what I'm trying to say. So moving on, LVS. I like this one. I've liked it a lot, and I'm going to zoom out here, and ultimately I'm looking for this gap to get filled. We had a very tight range here forever, and then it finally broke, closed this gap, came down, and now we're looking to get right back into this range. Ultimately, if we break 60 and then 60.88, I'm looking for this gap to get filled fast. So you might even want to go pretty far out on your options. I have the March monthly ones. I didn't go past March on any of these, but if you look, you can go pretty far out with this one and still be good. Maybe even get some leaps on it. I go long here over 56.50. I've got some decent targets. 58, obviously 60, and then 64. It's one I don't really want to short. I think the move is long here, but definitely in decent spreads and open interest across the board on both. So, the setup's there, and the opportunity is there to play both sides. What I'm looking at, this outside day, how they held this 54 range all week. Very tight range, these 5 days. And, it was old support. So, really looking for that to break out and make this run up to 60 this week. Now, next we've got PIN. The options are kind of expensive on this one. The closer, you're in closer to the money. So I kind of had to go kind of far out, out of the money here. But good spread on both sides. Good open interest on both sides. And I like how it closed on Friday as well. It's holding this upward trend line. They retested this 100 level, all of this here did, and then it finally, from this double inside day, and went up. So pulled back. There were some negative comments on it and DraftKings from Morgan Stanley this week. So pretty sure that was part of this pullback here. Then, had a nice recovery on Friday. So I'm looking for a move over 120, target 125, 130 here. 129. So I like it. I like that setup. DraftKings, I'm pretty sure went inside day Friday. So just keep an eye on both of those. Plug. Got a good setup going here. Pretty tight range here. Still an open gap, partially filled. Another open gap. Not even thinking about getting it filled yet. Earnings coming up soon. Volume drying up a little bit. It looks closer to, based on this action the last 3 days, from this candle inside and then, an inside down move. You would think that they're looking to fill this gap here, but it's been holding 60 for a while. I expect it to continue to hold 60. If 60 breaks, this gap will likely get filled. But, you can look at getting in slightly early here over 65.59 within the anticipation of a break in 68 in this pink line, downward trend line here. Then you're going to be looking for a move to 70, 72, 75. So 67.50 is what my entry would be, but like I said, you can get in here at 65.50 and maybe get in early. 60 really needs to hold, even if it does break, and it's I have it saying short here. Wait for the confirmation. You'll see it, you'll get it. You'll see if they're going to hold it or not. So went kind of far out on the money with the 80 calls and the 50 puts. I felt like they were priced pretty well, and they gave decent enough spreads with good open interest. So that's what I'm looking at with Plug. Peloton, I mentioned this in the Discord. that this is going to be my play of the week. I really like this one, and the reason I like it because we retested this old breakout area, 139.75 here. You know, you can basically say that it can't. I mean, look at all these candles; they all are just very tight range. And then this was the day before earnings, or the day of earnings. They hadn't reported yet by the time it closed. And then it tried to come back on that Friday after earnings, and then it went inside week again. Actually, it's double inside week, but I really like these two large green candles here, and then I'm waiting for it to just take all this out, and then make hit 170 plus. I'm not ruling it out, and I think we can get 2 or 3 of these large green candles this week, and just kind of rocket higher. So I really like this falling wedge, descending triangle, whatever you want to call it. I really like it, and I like how it's really setting up. So, and more importantly, I like how it's held this 139.75, 140 area throughout all of this. If this breaks, then we're going to come back through this range a little bit, but I don't really anticipate it going short. So, looking at the March 185 calls, I think that's a good price there. And then, if we have to look at some puts, the March 125. So, Starbucks, pretty tight range all week. Went inside day, start out Monday. Kind of stayed within this candle here all week. So it's really trying to break out over 170.75 or 107.75. It's been seeing some good flow. This 99.72 area is the old all-time high before it got broke here back in December, and made new all-time highs, and then just kind of went sideways here, had some earnings, filled this earnings gap here, and now it's kind of stuck. So small little triangle here, look for it to break out over 106.50, then get us over the current highs 107.75, make a run towards 110. We're looking at the March monthly 110 calls, pretty cheaply priced. If you need to go further out a month or two, maybe go to the 115 calls. I'm sure that they're priced pretty well too. So SPLK, Splunk, options kind of suck on it. Spreads are right on that borderline of not being good, but we have an opportunity to get back in this gap. We caught it here for a nice 10% move basically. Now we're all stuck inside of all of this here, and all of this is inside of this, so getting pretty tight. Looking to make a move going into earnings, see if we can get part of this gap filled some more. First target, not pardon me, not first target, but target prior to the rest of the gap here, so it's going to be 185.73. So pretty tight, and if it breaks, you've got some support down here, or here, and here. So might be one of those, take the common up until earnings. Don't worry about the options, and get out before earnings, and maybe get 5 to 10% there. XL, I'm really liking this one. I think this can be a longer term move, and so it's to look at it better, you're actually on a double inside month forming. So it went inside month, January, and now it's forming a second inside month. So as you can see, it's just pretty tight across, sideways across the board. So I would like for it to really break out solidly over 22. It's held, this 1850 area for quite some time. But I really want to see a nice breakout over 22. And then over 22, I think we can just kind of rocket our way up through all of this range here. I think we'll come in fast and come in hard. So, you're looking at a high in January of 23.52. So that's going to be obviously our first. So I think that's this candle here. Yep. So that's going to be our main target, 23.52, and then anything thereafter. So yeah, long over the downward trend line here, or 20.75, and here's our targets. So I would add the 23.52 to that. Stop at 18.50. That's kind of where it has found some support, and then there's an open gap here, so just be wary of that. So those are all my inside week setups. Now we'll move on to the other setups real quick. Alcoa saw some bullish flow this week, as you can see, posted on Thursday on Twitter. I saw that open gap, small little downward trend line, and an outside day on Friday. So if you look at it from you go over this downward trend line, and you go to the current most recent highs here, it's 20% move you're looking at. So some might call this a cup and handle here. I'm not going to call it that because that's not the patterns I use, but I'm going to draw it out for you. So see if we can get a break over this trend line here, get back into this gap, close this gap, and I see a small gap here on the daily, very small, but it still counts. Make a move back here, 25, get a 15 to 20% move. Next one's Futu. We caught that breakout. We caught this move here. If you held that, you're looking at a 78% move on the highs. So great job if you took that. But now I'm looking to play the other side of it. Take it short under 140. Go to 133 area, first target, and then 128, 129 area for the second target to fill that gap. So this would be strictly a gap play for me. Options are kind of iffy on it, so just be mindful of where the gaps start, where it gets support and everything. So Google went outside the inside day, took it up a little bit, but never truly got outside of this outside day. Narrowly missed going inside week if it wasn't for that wick on Monday. So it's going to be my honorary inside week setup, holding this upward trend line. I'd like to see a move here over 2106. If we can get in early, over 2105 or even 2100 even, I'd like to see a move from there to about 2150. Google, along with like Amazon and stuff, I wish it would make some bigger moves than what it does, but options kind of suck on it as well. But so that's what I'm looking at. They've held this gap all week, kind of like ATVI, similar pattern, similar setup here. And then Goldman, kind of went over this earlier when I was looking at DFS. Went inside day Thursday, went inside day and up. I'd like to test the current highs at 309.41 and get a move to 310 here. I like how it really moved and everything on Friday. Now we're just looking for some confirmation. So it held pretty well over 305. So I'd look at going long over Friday's high with an ultimate goal of 309.41 and 310. Other than that, here's some other inside day setups I was looking at. AMGN, eBay, Etsy, Hog, Stitch Fix, SunPower, and Workhorse. Hog has a gap. SunPower has earnings, so that's why I didn't do that one this week. So here's Hog. So yeah, you're in this earnings gap here, trying to work its way back up. So if we close this gap, you're looking at a 7% move on that gap closure. So they kind of filled this one a little bit with this wick. So they held it, found some support down here around 32, and then they're going to work their way back up. So I would consider going long now with a hold stop around 35, a tight stop, with anticipation of getting that gap filled for a 7% move. That's really it. I'll post my inside day setups prior to the open on Tuesday in the Discord. So sorry if it went a little long. I'm learning with you guys, but as far as doing the video, I hope it works out for all of you. Give me some feedback on it if you don't mind, and hopefully I'll get the hang of it a little bit better and take your guys' feedback and make some adjustments and try to keep this to about 30 to 35 minutes going forward if I can. I appreciate you guys, and let me know if you have any questions. Have a good week.